Good morning, students. So, we are in characteristics of chemical reaction. Four characteristics I had explained you: evolution of a gas, change in color, change in order, formation of precipitate. Formation of precipitate is when chemical reaction occurs, the insoluble products or precipitate are formed, which remains in the beaker or test tube, and this is known as precipitate. In reaction, we can show the precipitate by an arrow pointing downwards. Now, one activity is here. Take 2 milliliter aqueous solution of barium chloride BaCl2 in a test tube. Now, in another test tube, take 2 milliliter of aqueous solution of sodium sulfate. Aqueous means water. So, sodium sulfate is mixed with water, and then this solution is taken, Na2SO4. Mix the content of both the test tube in a beaker, and then we have to mix barium chloride and sodium sulfate. We will see that white precipitate is formed. This white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed there, BaSO4. You can see here the reaction when barium chloride BaCl2 reacts with Na2SO4 sodium sulfate, then BaSO4 is produced, which is a precipitate. The arrow you can see there, the downward arrow, which indicates that it is a precipitate, and at the same time a salt is produced, that is sodium chloride, NaCl. Next is change in temperature. Most of the chemical reactions are accompanied by energy change. During the reaction, energy may either be released or absorbed in the form of heat. If the reaction is taking place, then during this reaction, either either the energy is released or absorbed, and this energy is in the form of heat. Sometimes we can see that the equipment, the container or the test tube or beaker in which the reaction is going on, we are doing the reaction, it gets heated from outside. So the change in temperature will be there. Based on the energy change that occur, chemical reaction can be classified into two types: endothermic reaction and exothermic reaction. See here the activity. Take a few pellets of sodium hydroxide in a beaker. Sodium hydroxide pieces we have to take in a beaker, and then we will pour small amount of water to dissolve these pellets. Touch the base of the beaker from outside and observe the change. As just now I have told you, sometimes the beaker or the test tube in which the reaction is going on, it gets heated. Here also, when sodium hydroxide dissolves in water, the beaker or the test tube from outside, it gets heated. So first is exothermic reaction. When the reaction that are accompanied by release of heat are called exothermic. In this case also, the activity we are doing, the heat is released. So it is an exothermic reaction. In the reaction, we can continue by adding plus sign there and writing heat. See the reaction. When calcium chloride reacts with water, it gives out calcium hydroxide CaOH whole 2 plus 2HCl and plus heat. This indicates that this reaction is a type of exothermic reaction. When in the product side we write plus heat, then it means that it is an exothermic reaction. And second is endothermic reaction. That means the reaction that are accompanied by absorption of heat are called endothermic reaction. Here writing minus heat on the right hand side of the equation. Either we can write in product side minus heat or in reactant side plus heat. Then this equation denotes the absorption of heat, and this is a type of endothermic reaction. Example is ammonium chloride and water reacts to form ammonium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid minus heat, or this minus heat can be written as in the reactant side, that means ammonium chloride plus water plus heat. Then continue the reaction. So this is endothermic reaction. Do you know during slaking of lime, a sound is also produced which resembles the sound of snake, so it is called hissing sound. Lime means चूना. घर में आप लोग देखे होंगे when the whitewashing takes place, then the person soak this lime in water and some sound is produced. It also get heated from outside and the sound is also produced at the same time, and this sound is called hissing sound because the reaction is taking place and it is exothermic reaction. So the difference between exothermic and endothermic, or we can say endothermic and exothermic. First is in endothermic the energy is absorbed and in exothermic energy is released. Second point, energy is absorbed in the form of heat, and in an exothermic the energy is released in the form of heat or electricity, light or sound in any ways. And third example of endothermic reaction, melting ice, evaporation, cooking cooking gas molecules, photosynthesis, all these are endothermic reaction where the absorption of heat takes place. But in exothermic reaction, rusting of iron, settling, chemical bonds, explosion, nuclear fusion, all these are exothermic reaction. That means here the heat is released. You can see when the firecrackers explodes, then a large amount of heat, light and sound is produced. So this is exothermic reaction. And the last characteristics is change of state. In some chemical change, there is change of state. And to identify this, S for solid, L for liquid, and G for gas, and also AQ for aqueous are written under the or after the symbols or formula of the reactants and the products. While writing the reaction, after the symbol or the formula, in bracket we use S or L or G or AQ for different states of substance. If it is solid, then S is used. If it is gas, G is used, same as. And after reaction, we can see that the state get changed. You can see here one reaction, formation of water. Water is formed by hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is gas, oxygen is also gas. But when these two gas reacts together, then water forms there, and water is liquid. So sometime after reaction, state of the substance get changed. So these are the different characteristics of chemical reaction.